Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. It's finally time to start the reconstruction of my valley. I destroyed it just before update 5 and it's time to rebuild again. And what better place to start than with my plaza. I'm gonna do something really kind of elegant, hopefully, fingers crossed, and hopefully beautiful as well. So without further ado, let's get into this because this took a while. So because the plaza is a very kind of daunting place, I think any biome is, if you're going to wholly decorate any biome, then it is quite daunting. I'm going to start off with this little corner. I spent a good few hours trying to decide where I would want my buildings. I think until you actually start decorating, it's super hard to know where to put things and where to put buildings. But I feel like I'm just doing the stereotypical put Scrooge's here, put the restaurant, put Remy's house here. But I feel like this definitely kind of fits with the whole vibe that I'm going to be looking for. Definitely something more elegant than I've done in the past. And I want it to be really light, airy, lots of flowers, of course, sticky on brand. And kind of maybe with a few pinks tones and maybe a few purples. Just things like that, just to add in some pops of colour. This corner, I'm just going to make like a little kind of plaza area. I think I want more kind of like focal points in this plaza, as opposed to having one big one. I'm just going to have a few different areas that will kind of act as like little plazas, little kind of fountains, that sort of thing. I don't know what you call them, focal points, I guess that is what you call them, but yeah, that's what I'm looking for. So I decided to use the turning red statues. I still haven't seen that film. I really need to watch it, but I just actually really like the statues. They're probably my favorite item from the whole Star Park this time, and I just thought that this was turning out to be just like a really nice little corner over here. And maybe this is like indicative of what my whole kind of plaza will look like. Quite structured, but not too symmetrical. I don't want it to be, I feel like other plazas in the past, particularly my theme park one, I tried to do it so it was like symmetrical all over, but I don't think, as nice as that looks from above, I don't think it feels that interesting when you're in and amongst it, when you're walking through it, when you've got lots of different people and all the villagers around. Yeah, it's nice, but I want more detail. I feel like that's what I've been missing with some of my builds for the plaza particularly. So this is where I decided to put Remy's. I thought it was a bit out of the box a bit. It did take me ages to do the path, as you can see, and then getting these kind of segues off to the other ramps is always a pain for me because I feel like they don't line up properly. Actually, I take that back. I feel like sometimes nothing lines up properly in this game, but you got to do the best as you can. So there might be places where things are just a little bit off, but I try my best. It's really hard without like a grid to be able to tell if something is far away, but I have seen people use like the path to try and measure things. I'm just a bit too lazy for that, so I try and eyeball it. Honestly, it would be here all day if I tried to do that. I wanted to mix up the fence with the little stone rocks. I didn't want to use them everywhere because I really do like the way that this fence looks. I probably use it way too much. Actually, I definitely use it way too much, but it just works in any biome, I think. So I'm not mad about that. And then I wanted to try and make like a little bit of a, not too much because there isn't much space here, but I wanted to make a little bit of a feature along the side of Remy's, just so there's something there. There's something there to draw the eye and make it look a little bit prettier. So of course, added in some bushes, as you do. And I thought maybe I could add in some trees behind, but definitely not enough room here because otherwise it just overspills onto the actual path. So I went for these little plaza trees. I don't use these very much. I think I did use them in my theme park plaza, but I think that they are definitely, if you're for the plaza area, they definitely work quite nicely. They're quite structured, or maybe not so much for the forest, but definitely the plaza area. They're quite nice. They're bushes on stilts, on stumps, on trunks, maybe, whatever that was, but you know what I mean. They're just cute and they look like someone's come along with a hedge trimmer and made them all nicely shaped. So for out front of Remy's, I really decided that I wanted to have like a nice outdoor seating area, so I'm going to make another focal point. I feel like there is a better word to describe that, but I don't know what it is. And here again, this is where I'm looking at it and I'm thinking that doesn't look even. doesn't look even. But the kind of having a table in every corner wasn't quite working for me, so I decided to do like a little triangle, which I think actually worked well, because having squares everywhere, there's just a lot of squares. We don't need squares all the time, just break it up a bit. Because we can't have circles in this game, well, you can, but you can't. Like, nothing's too rounded without a lot of work. Everything that's rounded takes a lot of work, so squares are just an easier way to go for sure. But yeah, that's it. That looks pretty elegant, I think. I do like the urns. Wish they had some flowers coming out of them. Who decided to make fancy urns without flowers coming out of them? That was just a rookie mistake for sure. And then I also did, sorry, the editing word a bit wrong here, but there is an ice cream stall over there, which I thought was nice, and I think it just fitted on brand. I got it in the shop and I hadn't found a use for it yet. I think eventually I will put it on the beach, but I just thought it worked nicely there as well. You can have your fancy dinner at Remy's and then go get an ice cream and then stroll along the plaza at sunset. How nice does that sound? Okay, so we've kind of done maybe that top right corner. The pause was not me trying to figure out which one was left and which one right. It definitely was. But yeah, we're gonna have the center. I'm just mapping out this whole area. I don't think it will all stay as a square, to be honest, because that's a lot of path. But we'll try and figure it out. I'm gonna have a centerpiece. I know that I want to use a gazebo. Here it is. It is such a beautiful island. Such a beautiful item. I haven't used it enough. And then I do plus 1,000,000 points because you're able to put things underneath it, which actually just works wonderfully. I wish there were more items like this so that you could layer things and add things to the areas. The pumpkin lamps are definitely kind of making a feature here. I don't know if you call them pumpkin lamps. I don't know what they're actually called, but they're that kind of section with them. So I'm definitely going to play on that bit. I don't yet have the pumpkin carriage, which I need to figure out how you get that, because that actually might play nicely at some point in this whole plaza area. Don't know where, but maybe at some point it will. So yeah, that's the kind of bit of the path that's kind of done. Thought about using the little stones again, but actually I don't think we need to do that. So I'm gonna just go in with more bushes, trying to make sure that they're in the right place, and use these enchanted benches, because these are perfect. These are elegant, they're gorgeous, they're working for this whole area. It just works wonderfully. The green and the grey is really, I like that, and the little pops of colour from the flowers and things are working really nicely. I do feel like we need more flowers that you can put down in the foliage area, just because, I don't know, I feel like that would be nicer. Or maybe even just different colour bushes, because they've all got blue flowers. Right back when we started playing the game, there was actually one of the bushes that glitched and had white flowers, and I want that back. I want white flowers again. Why do we have to have blue? I feel like it's so restrictive. It's not so restrictive, I'm just being a bit dramatic, but I do like the fact that you could have different colours. It would just work nicer. And then yes, I decided this was taking a while, so I decided to pop down a load of bushes and a load of the planters to try and make it look circular. When I was saying about things looking circular, this is what I meant. This was such a headache, and I apologize, it's getting darker, but that just shows you how long I took on this build. It does go bright in a minute, so you can see, but actually I quite like the way that the color is. It's quite like golden now. There we go. Apologies if you have like bright flashing lights or anything, but yeah, we're back in the game now. We made it a lot lighter so you can actually see what's going on. I decided to make use of that little square bit by putting down the beautiful picnic blanket. We'll come back and decorate that a little bit more later. I'm just gonna fence off the whole area here and add in a few of these little lights. I don't think this is necessarily the most rustic build. In fact, it's definitely not the most rustic build, but I quite like the contrast of that with like the pink lights in it. I don't know. I don't think that there was a better option of street lamps, so we're going to use those. We're obviously going to add in lots of trees just to frame the area, trying to keep the bigger trees at the back. Just, I don't know if it actually helps, but I just, in my head, I think that that works better for when you're coming up the stairs and you're like, wow, the big trees aren't crowding everything. So that's that's why I did it that way. And then the picnic blanket over here, I'm just gonna put some foliage around the edge. Unfortunately, there wasn't much room for the grass, so instead of using the grass, I decided to use some leaves and a few bushes. I think that it looks okay. I mean, the grass would have really helped make it feel like a bit more meadowy. Although do I want it to be meadowy? I don't know, but it works nicely either way. And the purple flowers are definitely there. I will add some drop flowers later for sure. And then this area, I had no idea what to do with it, if I'm honest. I could have tried and done a little build here, but would it just be too much? Perhaps it probably would be, and then things would be a little bit off. So I decided to just do lots and lots of landscaping, lots of bushes, grass, trees, and it kind of worked out all right. And then over here, so we've pretty much done all of the right hand side. This is now the left hand side, and this is where I started to flag a bit. I was getting a bit tired, and initially I wanted to do Merlin's house here because previously I'd done Merlin's house in the meadow, and that was nice, and I don't want to be too samey about what I'm doing because I want to do something different with the builds. But initially I thought this could work really nicely, it's going to fit nice with the colours. And then I kind of changed my mind halfway through. So I do move it out and I do switch it for Minnie's house, which definitely adds a very big pop of pink to the area. And that's kind of why I decided to move her, because she is quite pinky. There's definitely a few pops of pink in here so far. So I thought that it would be a good addition here. I just wish I had made her house a bit more like muted pink, a bit more baby pink, instead of like the harshest toned pink that you could possibly pick and the harshest toned purple, because it would just, I feel like a lot of people, it would fit a lot better in their valleys. Maybe not, I don't know, because it does fit really nicely in the Glade of Trust. I don't know, either way, that was just a personal preference. But yeah, this is me putting down path. I've managed to do another whole kind of big square area, but this time I do think I will keep it as a big square because we haven't really got, I mean we have got seating, but I want to make this like a nice seating area with some of the birch benches, so you'll see how that works later. Right, and then fast forward a little minute, and here we have Mickey's, that is not Mickey, that is Minnie's house, and I decided to add in the little cherry trees as well, just because I wasn't sure where else I was going to go. The cherry trees and Minnie's house kind of come as a package for me. Wherever they go, Minnie's house goes. And the reason this is so quickly spread up is because it is literally, I just wanted an overgrown little meadow style house for her, maybe a few little flowers, and I do a little seating area as well, which I thought was kind of cute with the pink customized bench. Honestly, I really like the fact that I can customize that. I could have been fancy, I could have done a whole little pattern on it, but I decided just to leave it as like a nice little baby pink. I think that works well. And then just because I was like, oh, I need something else, I added in a little easel and some eggs, because everyone needs eggs in their front garden, right? I mean, if they're chocolate, I wouldn't say no to having some chocolate eggs in my garden, provided they don't melt. That would be disastrous. And then, but yeah, as I said, it is pretty much all foliage, a little cute kind of rock path up to it. So she's got her little cottage, because that's what I feel like a cottage should be. And then I said about seating, and this is what I decided to do for the seating over here. This is the light birch benches, and they're really nice. I do add a fourth one in later, don't worry. I just had to wait until the next day ticked over so that I could buy one from Scrooge. I'm not just going to leave it like 3, because that would look a bit skew. I said I didn't really want it that symmetrical, but like the little builds within it, I feel need to be symmetrical. So even though the overall layout of the plaza isn't, the builds within them are. I feel like that's elegant, maybe, to me anyway. Maybe these benches aren't even really that elegant, but I quite like the idea of having the space where everyone can kind of congregate and sit together. Even though the villagers, the characters, whatever they're called in this game, decide to just turn up at the places where you're taking a photo all the time and you don't want them. so many times. I really actually captured, I should post it, but I captured Maui like flexing behind me when I was trying to take a picture. I was like, that's just really unnecessary, Maui. But yeah, he always seems to cause problems, and I don't know who in your village or your valley causes the most problems, but I'm pretty sure Maui is up there. Let me know in the comments who it is for you, if you've got that far, who it is for you that is causing you the most problems. I know Donald's up there as well, because he's just temper tantrum central for sure, but he's still kind of cute, so we let him off a little bit. Yeah, whilst I was blabbering on about nothing, this is what I've done with the center of the area. I felt like because the benches are a little bit more rustic, maybe the center should be a little bit more rustic. So I'm at this point, we're like merging a few styles maybe, but oh well, it still kind of fits. I'm not mad about it. Maybe I'll change this little section up in the future, but I'm definitely a fan of the way that the middle is looking for sure. And then lots of bushes around the outside, so I'm just gonna finish them off and add a little bit more kind of depth and detail here. I added the waterfall here. I've seen some people do like amazing things, you know, with the fake ponds and the waterfall. I just, at this point, I was feeling very tired because it had been like 2.5 hours of like solid decorating, and I was just like, I need a break. So this is kind of, also, I don't think that the space would quite allow it because of how narrow I've made it. So yeah. But yeah, lots of bushes and things, more grass in there, more flowers, which I think is working nicely. And then I do love these nice little narrow things, because I could have definitely just left the fencing and then the path, because the border just adds, but I decided to move and add some more pops of pink in there, which I think definitely helped. And then here's me just trying to decide what to do next. Do I add these on? Yes. Because if it's trying to make it symmetrical, then we need to figure out how exactly to put the bushes, which I definitely do. So there we go, we're nearly at the end here. Don't worry, I've got some snapshots for you of what the finished areas look like, so you can have a closer look at them, because building from far away, you don't always see those details, so I'll definitely include them. I'm quite happy with this. It might be my favorite plaza that I've done so far, but I'm definitely happy with the way it's turned out. I don't want to sound like big-headed, but yeah, that's just the way that I feel. Let me know in the comments how you feel about this. Let me know what you've done with your plaza as well. I'd love to hear it. But here are those pictures. Have a great rest of your day. Bye bye.